So yes, it is true. We actually have some good news. And I want to break down what is happening right now, which is so good. So first off, I don't think it's any surprise, but the American people have been struggling simply because of inflation. Inflation has been over 6%. We were worried because for most people, they have not received a wage increase of 6%. So because of that, they are still falling behind. Well, guess what? Right now, and according to reports, wage increases have been right about 4.8%. Well, according to the reports today and the new CPI report, we now know that inflation is at 5%. Yes, we're only 0.2% away from wage growth versus what inflation is currently sitting at. That is the good news. Because in the CPI report today, it said that the CPI month over month came in at 0.1%. That is good news. The expectation was 0.2%. Core was month over month 0.4%. Again, right on expectations. And CPI came in at 5%. The expectation was 5.2%. So we came in a little bit under. That is really good news. So this is the thing. The Federal Reserve could be right for once. This could be their chance where they are right. We may see that, okay, yeah, we might dip into a recession, but there is also a chance that we do see a soft landing. This is good news that we are bringing inflation down. Employment is still pretty good. It's still holding strong. So again, this could be that make or break moment, and I will address what's going to happen, what the Federal Reserve is likely to do in the next month, but this is good news. So if you're glad that inflation is coming down, do me a favor, go ahead and hit that like button, and let's get to the rest of this video. So what was the largest contributing factor to this increase of 5%? Because again, it is still an increase because it did go up by 0.1%. Well, it's shelter. Shelter currently holds more than a third of the weight for the entire CPI report, but shelter came in at an increase of 0.6% month over month. Now you're probably thinking 0.6%, that's a lot. That is pretty substantial. However, this is also trending down. In the previous 2 months, we've seen an increase of 0.7% and 0.8%. So again, things are trending in the right direction. Rents are coming down. Now, I don't want to, give you any misinformation here, because even though rents are starting to come down, in most cases, they're starting out in the bigger cities, then they work their way out. So just because you are not seeing your rent go down, there's 2 reasons why. One, you could be locked into a lease. And if you're locked into a lease, then obviously they're not going to rip up your lease, give you a new lease, and let you pay less. But when your lease comes due and you renew your lease, it could actually be cheaper. So that's something to consider. The other reason why rents aren't coming down for you just yet is because you might live in a city where rents are pretty stable. Maybe they didn't increase as much as they did before or in other cities. So because of that, is good news that your rents could still be coming down, but they might be coming down in the future. So be ready for that. Also talked about this last week, but I said that what we have seen is a shift away from physical goods and towards services. And I gave a couple of different examples. One about using a lawn care company to come and do certain things around my house, and also talked about my wife going to get her nails done. Right, services, and people gave their comments and responses, and I think a lot of people really understood what I meant, that you could go and buy all the products to paint your nails and make them all pretty and do that whole stuff. I have no idea. I don't do that. But if you don't want to do that, and instead of having all the different nail polishes and the different tools that you need to clean up your nails and make them all round or shiny, whatever, you could go to a nail salon and they could do it for you. That's kind of what we've seen. So let's get to some of the service numbers so we can see the trend on those. First off, we have personal care services. these came in at an increase of 0.2% month over month, but in the previous 2 months, it was 0.2% and 0.6%. So again, we are starting to see the trend down or somewhat stabilized. This means we aren't seeing any new upward inflation. Again, more good news. We also have miscellaneous personal services. This also came in looking better. It came in at 0.7% month over month. The 2 previous months were 0.8% and 1.4%. So last month, it was a pretty substantial increase of 1.4%, and now we dropped that in half to 0.7%. And in this category, it's things like legal services, funeral expenses, laundry, dry cleaning, and apparel services, things like that. So again, this is good news. Another service that we need to keep an eye on is financial services. Financial services actually came in at 1.8% month over month, and that is fairly hot. But the good news is that is still trending down because, again, the previous 2 months were 2.5% and 2.8%. So right now at 1.8%, we're actually coming in a full percentage point below what we were last month. So again, that's good news. Now, obviously with some good news, we usually have bad news. So here's the bad news from the report. Airline fares jumped 4% month over month. Again, that's substantial. In the previous month, it was up 6.4%. Again, it's still very hot, but it's trending in the right direction. The only unfortunate thing is airline fares, usually in the spring and the summer, they are going to go up because more people are traveling. So that is something that we are expecting in the near future. We also know motor vehicle insurance is up 1.2% month over month. This is something that we knew was going to happen. Transportation services is up 1.4%. Well, let's get some more good news. And here's something that a lot of people are going to wonder: is this true? Is this real? Because energy dropped by 3.5%. Energy. This comes off the prior month where it increased by 2%. So we saw a 5.5% difference. You're probably thinking, well, didn't gas prices go up? Gas prices went up towards the end of the month. But that's the thing. That's where this is a little bit different. And this is why some are expecting we are going to see an increase in energy next month. Okay? So just be aware of that. Food prices, and here, this is another good one. Food prices also came in at 0.0% month over month. There was no difference. Food prices didn't change. So that's actually a good thing. Okay? We also saw food at home declined by 0.3%. It was a decline. It went down. Again, that's good news. Now, I do want to touch on what I've been seeing lately, okay? Because this is something that many people have actually brought up as well, and that is shrinkflation. Because you're probably thinking, well, I'm pretty sure I still spend more money today than I did 2 months ago on food. Why is that? Well, here's the problem. And shrinkflation is where the price of an item stays the same, but the size of the item gets smaller. Now, I do have something I want to show you. So, about 2 weeks ago, about 2 weeks ago, I went to Jack in the Box. Okay, went to Jack in the Box, and usually for my son and I have a 3-year-old. My son and I can get it's like the big chicken box, and this is what it looks like. Okay, this is what it looks like right here. Has a little piece right here, but my son ripped it up. So this is the box. Okay. So this item, when it comes with, you get fries and it's full of chicken and all that stuff, right? You get 3 sauces, whatever. I think this is like $12.99 or something like that for this big box. Okay. So the other day, like 2 or 3 days ago, went back to Jack in the Box and got the exact same thing. See this box? Look at the box they gave me yesterday. This is shrinkflation. It's the exact same price. This is the box I got yesterday. This is the box I got before. Do you see the difference? It's the exact same price. $12.99. It's like this thing, two and a half times the size. Big difference. That right there is shrinkflation. This is a pretty obvious example of shrinkflation, but that is shrinkflation. And I asked them, I said, this is your big chicken box? They said, yeah. Okay. But that is shrinkflation. That is part of the reason why we are seeing prices decline. Because again, people go and buy the same item, but you're not getting the same amount. Well, guess what? The American, and this isn't new, shrinkflation is not anything new. So the American people got tired of shrinkflation before, because we've been seeing this for the past 2 or 3 years. And guess what? We're now not falling for it. We're now not buying it. You know what I told my son when we got this? Sorry, we're not going back. We're not going back to Jack in the Box. That's not going to happen. So we'll just make chicken nuggets at home. If he wants chicken, we'll make chicken nuggets at home. Now, and if you guys have any stories like that, please let me know. You can always put your comments down in the comment section below. You can also send me emails. You can send me an email at homemade-entrepreneur@gmail.com, and I will get your emails there. And people always ask, well, how do you get all these emails? Well, send me an email. I put my email in every single one of my description boxes below the videos. So if you want to send me an email, send me an email. Okay, and I'll try to get back to you. So, what are we going to see moving forward? Well, here's what the markets are predicting as of today. The markets say we're going to see another 25 basis point rate hike in the next Fed meeting. I expect that is going to happen, and I've assumed that all along. The reports also indicate that getting to 5%, getting to a federal funds rate of 5%, and then pausing, is going to be the best option for our rate hike. We don't need to go up to 5.25. We don't need to go up to 5.5 or 6. 5% should be enough. Okay, that's the expectation as of right now. We are seeing inflation trend down, and it's trending down nicely. It's coming down. It went from 6% down to 5%. Right now, according to the last report I read, we are expecting to see inflation go from 5% down to about 4.4 to 4.5% next month. The goal right now should be to get at least to 4 or under, just right under 4. That should be the goal, to get there as quickly as possible, because if we can, it's going to make things a lot better. It's going to make things easier. Again, if we don't keep seeing these big price increases, and that is what we want. Now, the only thing that the Federal Reserve has to do right now is they have to figure out a way to minimize the risk to other parts of the economy. For example, the banking industry. According to reports, if the Fed goes to 5%, we should still be okay. According to Warren Buffett, he says that there will be more bank failures, but depositors will be safe. Okay? So, good news right now is that, yes, we are seeing inflation come down. The other good news is we are close to seeing the end of the Federal Reserve raise rates, which again is going to be good news, because that is going to be easier on your wallet, especially if you have credit card debt. But as of right now, it looks like the Federal Reserve could be right. They could have made the right moves, well, over the past year. Before that, well, obviously they made some wrong moves. So that's what we know at this time. As always, as I know more, I promise I'll come back on and share all the latest news and updates. Again, thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.